Tonight on Cannon and Mike's Movie Night, we're watching Enchanted. Ah, ah, ah.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Cannon and Mike's Movie Night Season 2. Today, we are checking out, as my beloved said, we are checking out Enchanted. Now, if you've been watching Season 2 so far, you know, we're not telling you what happened in the movie, we're not giving you the synopsis, Wikipedia, that stuff. So, but essentially, what you really need to know is, this is Disney taking the piss out of themselves. That's essentially what it is.
It's a parody.
Yes.
You know, we all know the standard Disney princess movie. Girl meets prince, or is already a princess and meets another prince, or girl meets boy, period, and becomes a Disney princess. Either way. They know each other a short time and then they get married.
I think we broke the case.
Well, I'm good at that.
So this stars Amy Adams as our Disney princess.
James Marsden as the prince.
Yes, which I did not recognize him at first, with long hair and no laser beams coming out of his eyes.
But he can sing.
Yes, he can.
We should watch him in Hairspray. You will love him in Hairspray.
We've watched Hairspray.
Did you actually watch Hairspray with me?
Yes,
all the way
I've
through?
actually watched Hairspray with you. We've never watched it for the show, but we've watched...
We should so watch it for the show.
Maybe we'll watch it for the show. And Patrick Dempsey as our reluctant real-world prince.
Well, if you ask the prince, he was a real-world peasant.
Well...
But a lawyer, I guess, would be the equivalent of a prince here.
Maybe.
Or an evil.
My beloved loves this movie.
I
So,
do.
so what drags you to Enchanted?
I like the fact that if you actually watch it, there are tons of Easter eggs through this. You're going to get Little Mermaid, Cinderella, Snow White, Mulan.
Did you never catch the Mulan reference?
I did not until you pointed it out tonight, I will admit.
So there's a ton of just little Easter eggs in the movie.
Even music-wise, if you listen, because the music is done by the same writers and composers as the people who did Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid. They did not do Mulan, though.
No, they didn't.
But Aladdin, things like that. Actually, you know what? Now that I'm thinking, I don't think there's actually an Aladdin reference.
Well, maybe you could... No, the end. Them sliding on rooftops. Because it's a very Aladdin thing.
I don't remember them sliding on rooftops.
Maybe more in the cartoon show than in the movie.
In the cartoon show, yeah.
But
anyways, there's a lot of Easter eggs in it, which is fun. I love musicals, and this is in traditional Disney fashion, a musical. It does start off as a cartoon and then works its way into the real world. So you have a little bit of cartoon, real world, and then cartoon and real world. Okay, it's all mixed up. Sorry. Food. And I think another great thing about it is the fact that, this is my favorite part, is in the real world, they start singing and dancing, and he's like, why are you doing this? We don't do this stuff. And I'm kind of like, yes, exactly.
But then randomly, everyone knows all the words and dances in perfect step and in a wonderfully choreographed dance sequence.
Yes!
So, me personally, looking at this, I have been exposed to more Disney movies in the last 3 years than I probably had been in the last 30. But I will... It's her.
I'm not exactly a Disney freak, but...
Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, Lilo and Stitch, Big Hero 6, Frozen, Enchanted. These are just the ones that are on our shelf.
All the Marvel movies.
But they're not they're not branded as Disney.
Disney owns their soul.
Disney owns it, but that's different. That's the same thing, like I'm not counting the Studio Ghibli stuff. Disney owns that too, but it's not really Disney. But anywho's, eventually Little Mermaid, because it's her favorite, and we don't actually own it.
I really want to get the live action one, though, when it comes out finally, in like another 20 years.
Well, they just cast, as of our recording this, they just cast the actress that's going to play Mulan.
Okay. So, and they actually just released photos of the Lion King's live action.
Yeah, so
cast.
um,
You know, it's the joy of 2017. We're getting all these information for things that aren't coming up until 2020.
So I'm going to say watching this movie myself.
As a non-Disney fan.
Well, I wouldn't even say I'm a non-Disney fan. I'm just not a diehard Disney fan.
I'm not either.
There's not
I am
too
nowhere
many.
near like some of the girls at work.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm mediocre.
It's very tropey, but it's meant to be. Amy Adams does a really, really good job playing the terribly naive Disney princess who got stuck in the real world. It's one of those things where if you watch a Disney movie and you see the princess and you sit there and you always go, it would never work this way in real life. Here's proof it would never work that way in real life, because she shows up and you realize that no, the stereotypical Disney princess, and that's something I think you have to emphasize. It's all about the stereotypical, because Disney in more recent years,
has started to break
decades,
away.
has really broke away from that.
Mulan was the first one.
Yeah, Mulan is extremely capable. So is Jasmine from Aladdin. Eventually, I'm talking about the character as a whole. I'm not talking about in necessarily isolated to that one movie.
Jasmine is still in the group. Well, no, even Mulan has this tendency of something bad happens. So what are you going to do? You're going to throw yourself down at the nearest place that you can and cry. Though Mulan, what she does is she cuts her hair instead of cry.
But they've shown in more recent years stronger and stronger female leads in Disney movies, and a lot of the princesses have become stronger characters.
Right, all the way up to looking at like Moana that doesn't need a prince, right. Elsa and Anna from Frozen not needing a prince,
right?
You know, things like that.
So this is what's her kid Giselle in this is more of a throwback to your Snow Whites and your Cinderellas and your Sleeping Beauties. That's where all of the tropish stuff comes in. And she really is just, unless it involves animals or singing or sewing a dress out of seemingly anything, then she's useless.
I don't know. She's really good at falling.
Yes, but so is Patrick Dempsey, so that doesn't really count.
He only falls once.
But they make fun of it, which I appreciate. Patrick Dempsey in this, I think, does a really good job of being a cynical New York lawyer, which is his character. But it's a wonderful clash of, this is reality, and when we start, it's a really interesting place with Giselle getting ready to go into her happily ever after, getting ready to marry the prince, whereas what's his name in the movie? Robert. Patrick Dempsey's character Robert has already been married, and it ended badly. So
and is about to get engaged to somebody that is compatible, but not necessarily love-inducing.
Yeah. Not necessarily the true love.
Who is played by Idina Menzel, who will later go on to voice Elsa in Disney movies. Again, Disney owns everybody.
One thing I did think was funny in this, though, was that Amy Adams, who, of course, after this, because this movie comes out when? As I'm searching for a copyright date on the package.
I think it was 2008.
Sure, we'll go with that. So, Giselle...
2007.
Okay, 2007. So, Amy Adams would go on to play Lois Lane in Man of Steel. James Marsden. I always get him confused with Spike from Buffy. James Marsden would play Lois Lane's husband in Superman Returns. So... which I think probably was in theaters when this movie came out. And I say that only because there was a Superman Returns movie poster in the background of one of the shots in Times Square.
The movie was shot during the time of Superman Returns.
Right.
But the actual film, Superman Returns, came out in 2006.
Sure. So doesn't matter. It didn't do well.
Why do you think he did this?
Yeah.
Disney owns him now.
But no, it's a really fun movie. They do a really good job with the different characters. I liked the different tropes. What did you think of Amy Adams as our princess?
I love Amy Adams. I think she does a really good job. She's easily believable as the naive Disney princess. Mm-hmm. But again, with her other roles that she plays later on, she always does a very good job of being believable at whatever role she's played that I've seen her in. Sure. Now, what you got to understand is we will be watching another movie soon that has Amy Adams as the lead, actually.
Okay.
That's the other movie I picked.
Okay. You can say it.
Julia and Julie. Julie and Julia.
That's coming up later this season here on Kane and Mike's Movie Night.
And again, she's believable. And that was her next really, really big film after this. So, you know, I always like Amy Adams, and I like her vocally. There's still a little bit of auto-tune, but that's because Disney is now hooked on that stuff. So I do have a problem with that. And they primarily do it mostly with the female vocalists. They do a little bit less with the male vocalists. And I can't tell if it's because that they feel that the female vocalists just can't cut it.
It could just be that they have this idealized version of what the female Disney voice is supposed to sound like. Yeah, I liked Amy Adams. I really liked Patrick Dempsey in this. I haven't seen Patrick Dempsey in a lot of stuff.
All you Grey's Anatomy fans out there.
But he does a wonderful job in this. I'll give credit to James Marsden because he plays the stereotypical Disney prince very well as well.
Not exactly. Most princes in the Disney movies are not stupid.
Well, see, here's the thing. When I think stereotypical Disney prince, the first thing that pops in my mind is Beauty and the Beast.
The Beast isn't stupid like that.
No, the Beast isn't. But I can't remember names today. Musclehead guy. Gaston.
Who's not a prince.
Yeah, but he's kind of. I think even he's a making fun of the prince idea in that movie. So. Because that's another thing. To me, Beauty and the Beast is a very different Disney movie, too. Because if you really... To me, if I watch that movie... And this is a different review for a different day. But when I watch that movie, I think it turns the formula on its head because the princess falls in love with the monster, not the prince. It's not until the end that he's the prince. So...
okay.
But... With this one, it's a fun little movie. My favorite character in the film is probably the little girl.
Oh, yeah. Because she wants to be a fairy tale princess. Her dad's dead set against her being the fairy tale princess. And then in walks a fairy tale princess who's going to help her be a fairy tale princess.
Yes. What stands out in this movie that's your favorite thing that you really like
the
and really
music.
enjoy? I knew she'd say that.
Okay, this is what you have to understand about us. Me, music, dancing, singing, all that stuff. This one, not so much. And they actually talk about you in this movie, I swear. Giselle goes, sing her a song or take her dancing. And he goes, I don't really sing and I don't
I'm
dance.
Patrick Dempsey.
And I'm Giselle.
She's Amy Adams.
So, but no, I like the music because for me... After Mulan and Beauty and the Beast and all that, Disney kind of went away starting around Hercules and The Hunchback of Notre Dame, kind of going away from the traditional classic Disney sound musical-wise. Mm-hmm. And I missed that. And this was one of the first movies that they came out with that came back to the classic Disney sound and style of musical that I grew up with. And so for me, it's a bit nostalgic.
For me, I really enjoyed the fact that Disney was capable of completely and utterly making fun of themselves. Because it's a rare talent. Not everyone can sit there and really reflect and go, you know, some of the stuff we do is pretty darn ridiculous. And I think that's something they accomplish here very well. There have been plenty of movies over the years and plenty of different takes on parodying Disney and the Disney style and whatnot. But for Disney themselves to be able to sit there and go, you know what? If you're going to make fun of us, do it right, because we can make fun of ourselves better than y'all can. I think they did a really fantastic job. I loved, if you are a diehard Disney fan, I'm not. Kana is. There are plenty of Easter eggs in the movie that you will catch. There is a Cinderella scene in the movie. There's a Mulan-esque scene in the movie. There's a Little Mermaid shtick in the movie.
Several, because they play the Little Mermaid music, as well as doing the boat scene and the prince statue at the very beginning.
There's a little Beauty and the Beast type stuff, because to me, Nathaniel and Edward is very much of a Gaston and his sidekick vibe to it. So there's plenty of different pastiches and whatnot throughout the movie. And I love that.
And they got Julie Andrews to be the narrator.
So
why not have Mary Poppins narrate your parody?
So to me, there's a whole lot in there that they really got right. And it becomes, the best parodies are love letters, in my opinion. So as much as it's a parody of everything they've done, it's a love letter to Disney fans. So I think that's a really cool thing. Where we had watched, we've watched plenty of different stuff over time. My wife missed it because she fell asleep during it last night. But we were watching the Crisis on Earth X crossover for the Arrowverse CW stuff. And there's a scene that is basically lifted straight out of Superman 2 in the movie, and I pop for it because you're giving a little bit of something to the fans who pay attention, have been with you for a while. Is there anything in the movie that you just didn't like?
No.
It dragged in the middle. That was my problem with it.
But I think part of it for you dragging is because Disney-wise, there actually was no drag in it. But I've been watching Disney movies since I was born.
Sure.
So, for me, there was no drag. I mean, if our house hadn't burned, we'd still be having, like, all the VHS videos of all the Disney musicals and that stuff.
So, for a Disney movie, it's well-paced, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. For me, it got slow in the middle a little bit, and I did start to doze off a little bit. Not for long. Not for long. She fell asleep during Spider-Man. So,
there was no smartassery.
Yeah, well, for a little while in the movie here, there was no moving forward of a plot.
There was. She was falling in love with him slowly.
But well, I know all about falling in love with people slowly.
And not telling them or realizing that you're doing so for a long period of time. So you know what? You can't call bullshit on this.
I'm not calling bullshit on the story. I'm calling bullshit on the editors. But no, it's a fun movie. That was my only gripe with it. Was it got a little slow in the middle. Not necessarily in a negative way if you're a Disney fan, obviously, but if you are a casual fan or just an average moviegoer, you might find a little drag in the middle. So, yes.
I have a question for you. Okay. How did you feel about Susan Sarandon being the villain?
Given that I don't see Susan Sarandon in a whole lot of stuff, I thought she did a fantastic job.
Well, she normally doesn't play a villain.
I wouldn't have guessed. So, no, I think she did a very good job. Again, her character is a pastiche, an homage. She is the evil queen, although she is very blatantly at one point supposed to remind you of Snow White and
the evil witch.
The evil witch in that film. So, all the way down to, that's definitely what they want you to think on the cover. That might be the one thing that actually annoyed me a little bit, is because the cover actually was a little misleading to me when you see her. That's not exactly the way she looks in the movie as the evil queen. But no, I thought they did
It's just the lighting that they use.
I know, but they really, really want you to look at that and go, Snow White.
Yes.
So, but no, I thought she did a very good job. I enjoyed her as the villainess. She got across the role. I think the body language was good. The CG for the dragon at the end was a little dodgy.
Yes, well, this was also Disney in 2007.
Yes, so was Iron Man.
Iron Man required a little bit less of, and it was of the type of CGI that was required for this. It was primarily the suit.
There was a lot of the suit, but there was a lot more of it.
Right, but the suit had a lot more practical elements than impractical elements to work with around the CGI.
I'm just saying.
While it's completely has to be imaginary.
She turns into a dragon in 2007.
Reminiscent to Sleeping Beauty.
2007. The CG wasn't bad, and Disney had money. And the dragon looked dodgy.
Yes, but remember, this is supposed to be a kid's movie. Kids are not as picky as you.
You'd be surprised. Anyway, final thoughts on Enchanted.
I love this movie. This is one of the reasons why it's on our shelf. I've been dying to get you to watch this movie with me since I finally got you to watch The Princess Bride first time 5 years ago. Actually, it was around this time.
Yes, it was. Final thoughts. It's a fun movie. And that's all I really look for in most films. If you are looking for a film with a deep meaning, terrific story, Phyllis, don't look at this movie.
I don't know. It has a deep meaning to not just go with the first guy who says he's going to be your true love's kiss.
I think if you're looking for there's a moral to the tale, yeah, and the moral to the story is happily ever after takes a whole lot of different forms. It might not be where you expect it to be. And that is something I do greatly appreciate. But it's a very fun movie, and I enjoyed it. It's a good little Disney musical. You told me it was a musical. I would not actually have called it a musical, but it's got a lot of musical numbers.
It is considered a musical.
Oh, I'm not saying it's
in the middle of a sentence. Somebody starts singing and dancing and the crowd follows.
Yeah, I just called that a Disney movie.
That's a musical.
So
this is a musical. No matter what anybody will tell you. But it's a good musical.
It is.
It is Disney in every single way. And I'm very excited. They're supposed to be doing a sequel to it. It's called Disenchanted.
They're getting a divorce. I'm kidding.
You're getting me dessert now.
So, I assume we know your rating on this.
Cell phone down.
I'm going to give it a half cell phone up because I did doze a little bit in the middle. So it gets 1.5 out of us for this one.
1.5 out of 2 is not bad.
Which is not bad.
In fact, we couldn't even... Well, Spider-Man Homecoming only got 1.
Yeah, and because what I was awake of, I enjoyed. So, no. It's a fun movie. I recommend you go check it out. Don't know that if you're not a Disney fan, you're not a musical fan, rent it. So, if you are, buy it. Stick it on the shelf. It's fun. So, folks, well, thank you for joining us again here on Kane and Mike's Movie Night. We got lots of movies coming up this season. We've already told you we're going to be doing, was it Julie and Julia?
Julie and Julia. Yeah, I know. It's a little hard.
Alliteration is fun. We've got that coming up. We've got a couple of challenge movies, I guess we'll call them, from some of our friends.
And I'm coming for you.
Josh from Chopsaki Cinema has challenged us to watch Dread, starring Carl Urban, sometime this season. So.
I'm coming for you, Josh.
And my dear friend Martin Phillips, who appeared on The Ultimate last year, he has asked us to watch Hero, starring Jet Li and Donnie Yen. So,
Marty, I love you too much to come after you, and I love your wife too much to do that. But I will find some way of revenge.